Well, in an extraordinary Christmas mood, Donald Trump unleashed a torrent of 34 social media posts within an hour, painting a vivid picture of his ambitions and controversial agenda. The rapid-fire messages, ranging from territory expansion plans to personal jibes, offer a preview of America's potential foreign policy direction. Here's a report.
It's my tremendous honor to finally wish America and the world a very Merry Christmas.
Among his barrage of posts, a meme stood out. Trump smirking at former President Barack Obama during the 2017 inauguration, captioned, "When you see the guy who said you'll never be president at your inauguration." Trump's Christmas wishes read more like a blueprint for American expansion, doubling down on his recent claims both the Panama Canal and Greenland, while introducing a bold new vision of annexing Canada as the 51st state. His message to China about illegally operating the Panama Canal carries ominous undertones of potential confrontation. Trump again took a dig at Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, calling him governor, and once again asking the country to become the 51st state of America. In the festive spirit, Trump sweetened his offer of reducing tariffs by adding that they would be militarily protected like no other country anywhere in the world. In his mockery, Trump also suggested that the National Hockey League legend Wayne Gretzky should lead the country. Trudeau's job is currently on the line after the surprise resignation of Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who clashed with her boss over Trump's threats to impose 25% tariffs on Canadian imports. Adding salt to the insult, Moscow came up with a concerning statement. The Russian Foreign Ministry hinted that Canada's sovereignty is under threat. Trump's Christmas posts reveal his strategy: dominate headlines, ridicule adversaries, and reinforce his nationalist agenda. While Americans have been puzzled about the mystery drone sightings, the outgoing American President Joe Biden commissioned a drone-shot video giving a rare look inside the White House, while urging unity and reflection in this Christmas video. Happy holidays. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
We ask that God will continue to bless this nation, and we pray that He will grant every American family a Christmas season full of joy, hope, and peace.
Mr. Stephen Golub is a political analyst and also lawyer. He's joining us live on Race to Power from Philadelphia, the United States. Mr. Golub, happy holidays and thank you very much for making time for us. Welcome to the broadcast. I'll begin by asking you, many people thought, I included, that during Trump's campaign and during his victory speech, that he's a changed man. But that doesn't seem like it, because with his recent jibes and with his recent comments, I think we were all wrong. Trump, the OG, is back.
He's certainly back, and in a very even hostile and somewhat vicious way, both by virtue of his attacks on what he calls the lunatic left and his hostility or hostile statements towards Greenland, towards Denmark, because Greenland is a territory of Denmark, towards Panama, and towards our greatest ally, Canada. And this certainly is a continuation of the way he was during his first term. But there's an additional source of concern here, something that didn't get too much attention abroad during our presidential campaign, was Trump's possible cognitive decline, even as there was much commentary, and I think legitimate, on Biden's cognitive decline. Trump has exhibited this in some ways through his statements, through his actions, some of which were very, very wild and irresponsible. So even though this is a continuation of Trump in many ways, there's a cause for concern that he may be, well, even worse than ever and in worse mental shape than ever. One thing I'll add is that in Christmas, it is in America, regardless of what religion you are, it's a day of rest, a day of family, a day of celebration. What Trump spent a good part of the day sending out 36 posts expressing all sorts of hostility towards our allies, towards domestic opponents, rather than trying to unite the country on the one day, if any, when there should have been a spirit of generosity in his words.
Mr. Golub, very quickly, let's talk about his statements like you mentioned there. What are the consequences of this statement looking forward and looking into the future when he actually indeed becomes president of the U.S.?
You know, I think in certain instances, this pressure may work in certain contexts, but largely it'll be counterproductive. I mean, how would India feel if Trump said, well, Goa was a different territory than much of India for much of its history, and the U.S. has a strategic interest in that part of the world. Maybe we should buy Goa or take over Goa. It would be ridiculous for him to say that. So how do you think the governments of Greenland, of Denmark, of Canada, of Panama, and other nations feel? It's an indication that the U.S. is not a trustworthy, reliable ally. They'll have to deal with the U.S. as best they can because we're such a powerful country. But this isn't the way to make friends and influence people. It's really counterproductive in many ways.
Stephen Golub, thank you very much for your time and for talking to us today on WION World is One, and happy holidays. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.